Good morning. Today we're spending time in Bradford-on-Avon and we have parked in the main car park by the health clinic for £7.30 until 6 o'clock tonight. This is one of the most picturesque towns in Wiltshire. I'm taking you with me on a gentle wander through its history, its waterways and a few beautiful hidden corners. What I love about Bradford-on-Avon is how much character it holds. Everywhere you look, there's a quiet blend between Saxon, medieval, Georgian and Victorian architecture. And to get into the Saxon mood today, we've even brought along some pottage for our break. Bradford-on-Avon sits on the River Avon, just 8 miles from Bath. Its name comes from the broad ford that once crossed the river here, long before the stone bridge was built. The town has been settled since the Iron Age, and by the Saxon period it was already an important centre. St Laurence's Church is one of the best preserved Anglo-Saxon churches in England. Here is one of the most extraordinary early medieval buildings in England, the Saxon Church of St Laurence. When you step inside, the first thing you notice is how tall and narrow the space is. This is exactly how it looked over 1,000 years ago. As one of the best preserved Anglo-Saxon churches in the country, St Laurence dates from the 10th or earlier century. Its tiny round-headed windows, long and short stonework, and steep proportions are classic features of early English architecture. Unlike many medieval churches, this one was never expanded or rebuilt, although there have been a lot of alterations, and at one time a schoolmaster's house was built on the front of it. According to a leaflet we bought in the church, there is an existing fragment of a Saxon cross, a fossil tree of 150 million years old, and a carved ring as a focus in the chancel. The ring was carved by John Mayne in 2012. The stone font is a locally found bowl, according to the leaflet. From the roof hang very impressive lights, which I couldn't find any information about. Outside there is this type of trough, or is it a coffin? I couldn't find out any information about this either. But if you know, please let me know. I'm very intrigued. For centuries the building was forgotten, used as a schoolroom and even as storage. It wasn't until the 1800s that historians realised its true age and restored it. Well, if you ever come to Bradford-on-Avon, it's really well worth having a little look around the old Saxon church. The history is just amazing. And now we're going to have a little look around the church opposite, which apparently has been here since the 12th century. So we'll have a quick look around this church as well. So this church is called Holy Trinity, and we're just going to have a little look around. So we didn't actually go into the church because there was some children's event going on, which we didn't feel it was appropriate for us to go in and take photographs, etc. We had a quick look around the outside, and of course we love a gargoyle. There's a train coming.
You better stop there.
Or has it stopped?
Stop, darling, isn't it?
Okay. Barton Bridge. Gosh, it's in full flood, isn't it? I'm now standing in front of one of the most impressive medieval barns in England, the Tithe Barn. As part of the medieval Barton Grange, the Tithe Barn was built in the mid-14th century for Shaftesbury Abbey, which at the time was one of the wealthiest nunneries in England. Farmers from the surrounding area brought their tithes here, usually grain, wool, or produce owed to the abbey. Measuring over 50 metres long, the barn is one of the largest surviving examples of its kind. The stone walls are supported by massive buttresses, and the roof is covered with thousands of hand-cut limestone tiles. Inside, the timber cruck roof is often compared to the hull of an upturned ship. It's an extraordinary piece of medieval engineering, designed to support the huge weight of the stone tiles above. After the dissolution of the monasteries in the 1530s, the barn passed into private hands and continued to be used for farming right up until the early 20th century. Today it's preserved by English heritage and remains one of the best kept tithe barns in the country.
Cider as well.
So we found a nice little picnic bench next to the tithe barn to have our pottage and cider.
Plastic bag, not medieval.
Plastic bag, not medieval. Today we are having pottage, and I'll put the recipe down below, but mainly it's split peas and bread and carrots and chard, which would have been around in the time of medieval England. It would have had lots of barley, rye and oats, but I'm allergic to those, so we've had to change it a bit, but I will put the recipe link below. So what do you think of the pottage?
It's all right.
Yeah?
It's a little bit bland. It is medieval
This
England.
is peasants' food.
Mm-hmm. But it's all right. It's sustenance.
And we've got bread, and we did put some vegan margarine in, didn't we? Because
And cider.
because we don't eat butter, and they wouldn't have had butter, not peasants. Rich people would have done, but peasants would have just had dry bread. And Paul also pointed out that we've got cider to drink as well. So this is quite a decent peasants' medieval lunch. I'm now exploring one of the most beautiful stretches of the Kennet and Avon Canal. This waterway has shaped the town for over 200 years. It's such a peaceful place now, but when the canal opened in 1810, it was very busy. The towpath would have been busy with horses pulling barges loaded with coal, grain and stone. I have to say, we really didn't expect to see these heads today. The Kennet and Avon Canal runs 87 miles from Bristol to Reading, linking the River Avon with the River Kennet. The section through Bradford-on-Avon opened in 1810 and quickly became a vital transport route between the Somerset coalfields and the growing cities of Bath and London. Like many canals, this one fell into decline after the arrival of the railways in the mid-19th century. By the early 1900s, some sections were derelict, but thanks to decades of restoration work, the canal was fully reopened in 1990 and is now one of the most popular leisure waterways in the country. Now entering Widbrook Wood, a peaceful stretch of woodland just outside Bradford-on-Avon. We're just on the canal, and the canal is going over the river. Come on. Come on. Oh, little friend. So cute. What I love about this place is how quickly it feels wild. You're only minutes from the town, but it's a calm oasis. Widbrook Wood sits between the River Avon and the Kennet and Avon Canal, forming part of a wider wetland and woodland corridor. It's around 16 hectares of mixed woodland, open glades and riverside habitat. The area is rich in wildlife, and the woodland edges are full of wildflowers in spring and summer. It's also a great spot for bird watching, with different species using the river and canal as a natural travel route. Although the surrounding landscape has been wooded for centuries, Widbrook Wood itself was planted more recently as part of a conservation project. Today it forms an important green link between Bradford-on-Avon, Trowbridge and the wider countryside. There's no dedicated car park, so most visitors walk in from the canal or nearby roads. That helps keep the area peaceful, perfect for quiet walks, photography and spotting wildlife. If you're looking for a gentle walk with plenty of nature, Widbrook Wood is perfect. We're now towards the end of our walk and we're just going to go to the famous bridge in Bradford-on-Avon. When you walk across it today, it's easy to forget just how old this structure is. Parts of it go all the way back to the medieval period. The town bridge began life in the 13th century as a narrow pack horse bridge. In the 17th century, The bridge was widened by building a second bridge alongside the first. The two structures were joined together, creating the broader crossing we see today. The little domed building on the bridge is often called the chapel, but it was actually a lockup, a tiny jail used to hold drunks and petty offenders overnight. It was added during the 17th century widening. Before the bridge existed, this was a broad ford, the broad ford that gave Bradford-on-Avon its name. Travellers crossed the river here long before the stone arches were built. By the 1500s, the bridge was already well known. The Tudor antiquarian John Leland described it as having 9 fair arches of stone, a description that still fits today. It's incredible to think that people have been crossing this spot for hundreds of years, and the bridge is still the centre of town life.